Today it's time for the last game here before the World Championship. It's a game from a tournament that I also played in the European Club Cup in Vrnjacka Banja in Serbia. And to be able to play this tournament, you need to play for a chess club that gets top 4 in the local league. And so my team got 4th, but I'm kinda like, I was a serious chess player 20 years ago, but now I'm 40, so I'm not as good as I used to be. I am FM strength only now, and the most players in our team is of course Grandmasters and International Masters. But because many players did not want to go from my team, then I got the opportunity to went and play a really big tournament here. So I got to see Gukesh and basically all the best players in the world except for Magnus and the Americans, because it was the American Championship at the same time, so they couldn't come. But the rest of the best players was there, and the best team they had we of course only have players from Sweden, but some other clubs, for example the team that won, had from all over the world. And Gukesh team, you can see here, played for Super Chess. They were also high rated, but his team didn't perform so good. And he's playing here against Turkish Airlines, another very strong team that didn't perform very good in the tournament. And our team, we won 4 matches and lost 3 matches. We were happy with that. Because there were tourists like me there. But the tournament was very nice. It was held in a old spa town called Vrnjacka Banja, and Banja means spa in Serbian. Apparently it had been a spa since the Roman times. There was a big park in the middle of the town, and then large hotels with warm water in the pools from this warm water well, basically. So that was nice. So and I observed Gukesh a lot because of this video series. So he seemed very, very happy and talked a lot with the other Indian kids and seemed very happy, even if neither he or his team didn't do very well. But of course he's happy when he's gonna play the World Championship match and make a lot of money and being like one of the best in the chess in the world. And of course it's very, very easy to be happy. So Gukesh won 2 games, lost 1 game, and then drew the other. So he performed much below his rating, and especially considering his great form during the Olympiad. So if Gukesh plays like he did in this tournament, then the World Championship match will be an even. But if he plays like he did in the Olympiad, he will win easily, is my guess, in the game against Liren. So I actually choose the game that he lost here. It was against the strongest opponent, Dmitry Andreikin. Andreikin is of course a Russian player, but all the rich Russian players, basically all with like 26 and above, has moved to other countries because of how Russia has become now with the dictatorship and the war in Ukraine and so on. So they can go to play chess tournaments. So I don't know what country Andreikin lives in now, but he's at least playing for the Turkish Airlines club in this game. And he has played the candidate tournament. He already did it I think it was maybe 12 years ago or so, when he was very young. But after that he has stayed like these 20, 27, 30, but not being able to play the candidates again. And they're playing here. Gukesh play a system which called the Rogochin system. And when I say that, I always think about this Russian book, The Idiot by Dostoevsky, where the antagonist is called Rogochin, also like the opening here. But I don't think it's because from that book. I think it's because probably some chess player also called Rogochin. So, but I've seen this before, and I think this is one of the main lines that they are playing here. So I'm not gonna spend so much time on the opening. So all these have been seen before. Here black has to take on c4, of course. And this is important here. This is like known theory. Even I, who is not, I'm a Catalan player, so I don't play the Rogoshin, but I also know that this is kind of main theory here. And here it's very important that black takes on c3 here and forces the queen trade, because if white just could play 2 moves, bishop here, rook here, and keep the queens, then of course black's king would be very insecure. So it's very important that he takes here and plays here, and now white cannot avoid the trade really, because black threatens to take here. For example, this, if he tries to do something like this, he can black can force the queen trade anyway. It's a known. It's known. So white takes, and we get a position like this that looks. The computer thinks it's very equal here, and I thought maybe this could be the chance for Ding Liren to win against Gukesh, because Gukesh is good when he has like an active dynamic position and can do his own play. But in this position, basically if Gukesh would play like this, let's say play like here, this is like the most normal moves here for both players. Maybe something like this. And I'm pretty sure he would hold this position easily. Like there is just not much to do here. But instead he plays e5, which weakens the structure. It looks fine now because he can play bishop e6 next. But as we will see in the game, it's actually going to become a very hard game for him here. And the reason is that this square has gotten weakened. So here white is preparing to go here already. So here maybe like black would like to do this to like keep here, but of course this doesn't work tactically. So if black just could do this move and maybe queen here, and just it would be fine. But white played exactly here when he did this, like he immediately did this. But maybe here could be the last chance for white maybe to do something. Maybe something like this would have been a better chance for black. Because what will happen now is that the knight here will be extremely annoying. The computer thinks like black should have tried this to try to force the game a bit. And now white can decide to take one of the pawns. For example, if he takes here. So he gets the passer. Then here. And black wins back a pawn and can start his own counterplay. If black can win, for example, b2 and maybe knight here and create counterplay with his pawns, then his position is fine. But what he doesn't want to do is just to play passive here, like he does in the game. So he does this one, and white is checking. And this endgame is not fun because the bishop is clearly stronger than the knight. So this endgame is not fun at all. So he decides to go back. And white plays exact. Here it takes. And then takes this pawn. So white has won a pawn for nothing here. The computer here, black does this with a plan probably to go here and create some counterplay. The computer prefers to do b5 and then this maneuver. So here white made a bad move and he lost back the pawn. He's like one pawn up here, and it's an important pawn. but black has this threat, knight c4 as a threat. So what white should have done is he should play here. And the point is, after knight c4, white can go here, and if he, for example, takes here, then can take and then go in here and win. And this is already a winning position, because white gets, there is this Nimzowitsch rule in his book My System, where he says like a rook on the 7th rank and a passed pawn, that's enough to win, and the computer agrees here. It's already winning for white here. So he should have played that one. Instead he did f4, and now again Gukesh is making a mistake here. Correct is to take here. Maybe rook takes, and now here. And as you can see, black will get a pawn here, and he will get like a passed pawn here. For example, taking here is not much better, because and black will win this, and he will get enough counterplay for a draw here, most likely. But what will happen now when he does knight c4 here, it is that white will get like a positional advantage here on the king side. Look what happens here after f5. Bishop here, knight here, threaten this one. If white can take this one, then it looks quite kind of bad. So black defends, and now white take this one. And now, for example, if he goes here, here, and best move is to go back. Like if he takes here, then it's already like white still has a pawn, but the position here is just looking strong for white. Something like this he can never take because of check and winning here, and white can start advancing here. So the computer thinks this is already winning here. This f5 fixating the black's pawns was important, basically. So black decided to do rook g8 instead, and here was possible to play knight h6 also, but h3 looks simpler. But there is a tactical problem with this, that black can win the f5 pawn back here. So which wasn't possible, I think, if he played the exact move here. Or maybe he could win back anyway, so I don't know. So let's see what happens. So here white makes something that's like typical of a strong player, is that he can convert one advantage to another. Instead of playing e4 and like get this good structure here, he has lost this pawn. But when black's pieces are here, instead he tries to take the a pawn here and get two passes on the queen side. So black decides to take here and play here. White goes here, trying to win the a pawn, and he's correctly giving up the g pawns to get the passes on the a file. And this position is already hard for black to defend because there is good passed pawns supported with a strong bishop and a strong rook. Maybe some chances for a draw here, but there will be a couple of mistakes by black soon. Maybe the computer could hold this with black, probably, because you can see it's not a big advantage, but in practical play it's hard to hold it. For example, here b3 looks correct, and then maybe take on f7 or something with the bishop, but he does this. And here it was a chance to check here, but he played here. And here he makes a mistake here. After that I think it's lost. Correct is to check and then go here, because he needs to start finding a way to blockade these pawns here, and it will then be like a position like this. White's pawn, it wants to be behind the pawns, but it has to go and defend from the sides, because that was the only tactical thing that worked. So this is looks like this is black's last chance to play like that. But now it's already good for white here, because he can defend from the side like this instead, which is a more active way to play than to play with the rook on c2. So you can see it's already winning for white now. And here, very important move. Only one move wins, the rest draws, but he finds that move. You want like this is like this kind of setup. The rook can almost bring down the pawns themselves, even if a king and a rook, like a king and a rook, can prevent them, but then they would have to be tied to this construction here, and the white king can capture the rest of black pawns here, as we will see here. But it's not easy, because both players play wrong moves here. So it's so here for example, it was important for white to play this, maybe something like this and this. And then white can just take here. And if he plays like this, then it's important for white to like fixate the pawns here. So the position that black wants to have it is a position where this is like a position that now the king attacks the rook, so he can't do a6. Basically, that's kind of the point, and he can't do b5 because the rook is hanging. So this is like the optimal position for black, but actually he would like to have like the rook here, because when he takes here basically. So this is like the optimal setup for black, but because white has this pawn on here, he can just like go with the king and just eat everything and queen the pawn, so it's just winning anyway. So this is what white and black wants to achieve, but here he makes a big blunder when he doesn't play b4, or because I think this should also work probably, or no, actually not. I thought maybe this could work also, but looks like it doesn't. It's because these pawns controls these squares, so it's kind of important here to play e4 and fix them also. So it's a little bit quite an interesting endgame here actually, in my opinion. So after this it was a draw by playing here. White has to check, and now very important, he has to go back here. not forward because of b4. So like this is obviously winning for white. So the key is to go back and reach. This is the optimal defensive position here. And this one is threatened, so he has to go here. And now he gets this this structure here. And the problem for white, as I understand it, is if he tries to go around, black can take here. So let's look at that maybe. Or he can actually go here also. Yeah, so he's basically taking this one, and he can afford to allow, like, black can allow the pawns to advance like a little bit, basically. So, but Gukesh maybe he didn't know about this, the optimal way to put the king here on c7, attacking the rook like that, because he played on the wrong side with the king. And again, the wrong side with the king. He wants to go to the optimal square c7, but he goes forward, which is never gonna work. The problem with this setup is that now white can just, like, queen, rook and two pawns can queen self against the rook if the king is not on c7. So this is just hopeless. So the next move is just here and new queen. So yeah, it was an interesting game, and maybe endgames and getting a position where Gukesh has like worse structure and a passive position. Maybe that's what Liren should hope for in his games, and of course Gukesh in his seconds should try to avoid such a position. So okay, so I haven't decided yet what to do for the World Championship games, if I'm gonna do some live streams. Maybe I could do it sometimes, or if I'm just gonna do after game reports like now. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. If some of my favorite commentators like Svidler or Gustafsson or so is commentating, I might just be watching them instead. So it depends what there are for commentators. Okay, so yeah, see you.